Hi, this is Rethik, your biology subject matter expert from memoneet. In this video, we'll be concentrating about the FLT3, especially with botany topic. Okay, so we'll discuss what are the correct answers and why. Without delaying, let us move on to the questions now. So, what was your very first question? That is the 91st one, right? So, 91st one was like, yeah. Given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion and the other is labeled as reason. So out of this assertion and reason, we have to say which is correct, whether both are correct or not. So assertion A, they have given that the bryophytes are amphibians of plants kingdom. Okay. So this is your first statement. And for that reason, they have given that in the bryophyte plants, they actually depends on water for sexual reproduction. So this is your second statement. So that is the reason they are giving for the above statement. See, one thing that is we know that the biophytes are often referred to as the amphibians of plant kingdom, right? Why? Because they actually acts as an intermediate position. Intermediate position means between the aquatic as well as terrestrial terrestrial plants. So since they act as an intermediate between the aquatic and the terrestrial plants, they required water for their reproduction as the sperm must swim, right, to fertilize the egg. So thus they depend on water for their sexual reproduction. So this adaptation allows them to thrive in a variety of habitat, making them unique among the plant kingdom. So what would be the correct option here? Option 4 will be the correct. So so this is actually from the diversity in living world, right? So it is from plant kingdom, right? So what is the next question? That is the chlorophyll bearing, simple, thyroid, autotrophic, and largely aquatic. Both freshwater and marine organisms are what? So so we have certain like chlorophylls, right? So basically, when I'm talking about chlorophyll bearing, so we know chlorophyll bearing is nothing but algae. So algae are nothing but thallophytes, right? So they are the algae which actually have a chlorophyll bearing simple, thyroid, autotrophic, and largely aquatic. So they are both freshwater as well as marine water organisms. So it is very simple. So whatever the very first organisms which can be live in both found in both they are aquatic and thyroid autotrophic, and largely they live in both fresh and water as well as marine organisms which bearing the chlorophyll is algae. So algae are actually called as thyrophytes. So it is very clear. So 93 question in algae, algin and carrageenate are obtained from which type of algae respectively. So that is our question. So marine, this carrageenate as well as algin are actually obtained by the marine brown algae as well as red algae. Okay. So they are actually because this is certain marine brown algae as well as the red algae. They produce actually a large amount of what do you say that hydrocolloids as well as which is water holding substances, right? So these hydrocolloids, examples like algin is actually been from brown algae and carrageenane is actually from the red algae. So they have water holding capacity which are used commercially also. So the next question is 94th one. So what is the 94th here? Given below are the two statements. One is labeled as assertion and the other one is labeled as reason. So assertion, cells are variable in shape. They may be round, biconcave, amoeboid, columnar, or even irregular. So, what is the reason they are saying actually here? Different cells perform different function. What do you think might be the correct statement? Yeah. Option 4. Because see, cells are variable in shape. They may be round, biconcave, amoeboid, and columnar, or even irregular in shape, right? So different, and those all, different shape, size of cells are there. They have their own different function. So that is the correct statement. Both A and R are correct, and R is a correct explanation of A. Next, 95. So what do you see about 95? So you need to match the uh, following. So based on their size, it is very simple. Okay. So mycoplasma is there, which is of what is the size? 0.3. Yeah, that's right. So it is direct. So next we have is bacteria. So bacteria is 3 to 5 micrometer. Yeah, that is also right. So next we have is human RBC, right? And the ostrich. So be very alert. Yeah, but very first thing that I need to understand is which is the biggest one? Ostrich egg. So here centimeters it is given. So this is the biggest. After ostrich, which is the biggest? Human RBC, right? So which among these three, which is the, so it is very clear that human RBC is 7.0 micrometer. So next will be the bacteria. Next will be the mycoplasma. And luckily, it has a direct, the options are in front of the question itself. So these types of confusing, it's actually called confusing kind of questions can also be asked. Next, 96. Centrosome are non-membranous cell organelle which is found in where? Where do you find this centrosome? So very simple. Centrosome are actually found in the animal cell. So they are actually found in the animal cells. So centrosomes are actually non-membranous cell organelles, right? Which are actually present in the animal cells and also in some lower plants. So they consist of a pair of what? Centrosomes and play a crucial role. So they actually play a crucial role in cell division as well as the organization of the and the organization of the microtubules. Organization of the microtubules. So plant cells, on the other hand, generally lack the centrosomes. That's why they're actually found in the animal cells. Next is 97th question. So the figure is given. We have to list out. So the which will be, so the above figure of chromosomes, which will be what? So yeah. So what type of chromosome it is? That is what we need to identify. So we know, based on the position, we are going to identify the chromosome. So chromosome is present middle here. So that is what I'm seeing. So it could be easily said it is metacentric. So it is established, it is present in metacentric position. So metacentric chromosome. So we have 98th question here. So after vaporization of all the water from the living tissue, we get the dry weight, wet weight, or ash, or both one and two. Obviously, dry weight. So not ash or something, dry weight, because one weight small amount of living tissue and dry it. So when you do it, all the water vapors and the remaining material gives up what? Dry weight. So which among the following is correct over the given by the above figure? So below figure. Okay. So there is a figure given. So what do you think is correct? So when you see this, it is actually from the cell cycle and cell division, right? So by seeing this figure, one thing you will know here is spindle fibers are actually attached, okay, to the chitinocores of the chromosomes. So, for example, if this is the chromosomes, right? So, spindle fibers are attached to this chitinosomes. So, here in this chitinocourse, what happens? They are present attached to this. Uh, what do you say that in the middle of these chromosomes. So what happens? The spindle fibers that you are seeing will pass through this. So the spindle fibers are attached to the chitinocores of chromosome. One statement is correct. The next statement is the chromosomes are moved to spindle equator. That means so they will move towards the spindle and get aligned along the metaphase plate. So it is aligned exactly in aligned position. That is meta's center position. Metaphase plate through spindle fibers to both poles. So the second statement is also correct. Centromere splits and the chromatide separates us. So yeah, that is also correct. But according to this position, this figure, it is not correct, right? So first and second is correct. That means the fourth option is correct. So which is the correct option now? Fourth option is correct. So next we have is 100, question number 100. An egg cell has 5 pg of DNA in its nucleus. And how much amount of DNA will be in this animal at the end of the G2 phase mitosis? So normal cell is equal to, we have an formula here that we need to understand. That is normal cell is equal to egg plus sperm. Correct? So which is equal to 10 pg. You need to remember. See, an egg cell has 5 pg of DNA in its nucleus. So we have an egg. Clear. So now what happens here is how much amount of DNA will be in its animal at the end of the G2 phase. So G2 phase comes after what phase? Synthesis phase. That is S phase in which the DNA normally gets replicated. If one DNA is there, it gets replicated to two. So normal cell I'm talking, an egg cell has 5 pg of DNA. Okay. So then what happens when I'm talking about the normal cell here? So normal cell will be having what? Egg as well as sperm, both it will be having. So that means we will be having 5 plus 5, 10 pg. So once it gets divided, so total it will be 20 pg. Very simple. So we have the next question 101. At which meiotic division the nuclear membrane and nucleolus disappear? Is our question. So the nuclear membrane and the nucleus disappeared in which phase? Prophase 1, right? Right. So one or two given below are the two statement. So in the two statement, we have to choose the correct one. So mitotic division occurs generally in reproductive cell, and the statement two is synapses occurs during the zygote stage. See, mitotic division occurs in reproductive cells, especially in the formation of the gametes such as sperm as well as during the egg formation. So synapses occurs during the zygote stage of the prophase 1. So in where? In the meiosis, remember. So where homologous chromosomes pair closely together. So what would be the correct? Both the statements are correct. So coming to the 103 question, meiotic division given. So assertion is a cytokinesis specific effect on cytokinesis. Uh, so sorry, given below are the two statements. So one is assertion and the other one is yeah, reason. So assertion they have given as cytokine kinase specific effects on the cytokinesis. And the reason they are saying is cytokinase induces the cell division. So, what would be the correct? Cytokinase has a special effect of cytokinesis. That's correct. So, what happens is the cytokinins induce the cell division. Natural cytokinins, are synthesized in region where rapid cell division actually occur. So both the statement is correct. So option 4. So next question is 104, where it is saying that axon was isolated by what? It was actually isolated by, it is a direct question. So it was actually isolated by which scientist? F.W. Went. He was the very one who isolated it. So from where he isolated? From the tip of the coleoptilides of oat seeds. Okay. Next, 105. So 105 says that cells in the watermelons may increase in size by up to what? So this is that answer. So it can increase size up to what do you say that 3,50,000 times. Next is 106, where cross pollination does not occurs in clistogamous flower, because in clistogamous flowers are the type of a flower that do not open the flower, right? Open, and therefore do not allow any cross pollination happens. Instead, self pollination is promoted because flower is closed here. So next we have is 107, label A, B, C, D. We have to choose the correct one. So what is the A actually? It is the coleoptili. So what is the B then? Shoot, apex. And the C1 is epiblast. So what is the D actually here? Radical. So you have to say me what is the correct now by this. Option 4. Next we have 108. Which among the following condition is present in chili? Yeah. Uh, have you seen the structure actually? So this will be the correct answer, because according to the structure, you have the choral formula. Corolla will be the petals will be five, correct? And velvet aestivation. And you have to know androecium. Stamen will be the five, and you have the epipetalus. So the epipetalus stamen and velvet aestivation is the correct. Next, that is 109. Match the following. So what would be the correct action option here? So there are Polydalpus, obviously it is belongs to the citrus. Then Epipetalus belongs to the brinjal, and Epiphyllus, it belongs to what? It belongs to lily itself, and the Perigynous belongs to peas. So option 1 will be the correct. Next is 110. So which of the following is not included in the stomatal apparatus? So yeah, the stomatal apparatus where guard cells and the surrounding, subordinate cells are together. So they are actually called as stomatal apparatus, right? So yeah, so stomatal apparatus is there, guard cell is there, subsidiary cells are there, except we don't have the fourth one. So which cell is not included in the stomatal apparatus then, according to that question? So fourth one is the cell which will not be included. So we have 111. So that is statement 1. Solanaceae is a very small family, commonly called the potato family. Statement 2, the floral, what do you say, that formula of the Solanaceae is this one. So, yeah, which statement is correct now? So, the statement will be both statement 1 and statement 2 are incorrect. No. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. No. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is correct. And both statement 1 and 2 are correct. So, the third option is correct. Why? I'll say you. The Solanaceae is actually being divided into five of the flowering plants, commonly known as what? Potato, right? Then the family, which includes imported agriculture crops like potato, tomato, and we have eggplant as well as many other ornamental plants, right? And some of the toxic plants also comes under this. So what would be the floral formula here? So the floral formula of Solanaceae will be radially symmetry, right? So that means you will see the bisexual, then the calyx you will see, which is nothing but the five sepal and unite, and they're actually united. That is gamosepalous. Then you will also see the corolla, so which is again five petal. So calyx will be denoted as what? So it is bisexual, correct? And you'll have a minus symbol here, correct? Then we have after that we have K which is 5 and C which is again 5 and A which is 5 and G we will have 2, that is gynosium. So this is the chloral formula. Okay. So statement 1 is correct, but the statement 2 is actually wrong. So next going to 112 question number. So who used prism, white light, green algae, that is cladophora and aerobic bacteria, and plotted the action spectra for photosynthesis? As a question. It is again direct question. So T.W. Engelmann is the correct answer. So match the following. We need to match again the proper. So mango, we have around 1,000 varieties. That's what I remember. The national plant, this is on-site conservation. That is, you will conserve on its own specific place. So it is this one. Wildlife safari park, it is ex situ conservation where we actually take animals from their region and we conserve. Then hotspots in India, obviously, I know that. That's we all know that is 34, right? So yeah. So what would be the correct option? Two. So next 114. That is a process that makes important difference between C3 and C4 plant is actually called as what? Photorespiration, right? Because what happens, the important difference between that is photorespiration, because in C4 plants this photorespiration does not occur, it occurs only in C3 plants. So that is the important differences. So next we have is 115. How many direct ATPs are generated from one molecule of glucose during Krebs cycle? So that you need to answer me. So what would be the answer in the Krebs cycle, which is actually called as what? Krebs cycle is also called as what? Citric cycle, right? Citric acid cycle. And total of two ATP molecules are generated, right? Directly per cycle. So however, since every glucose molecules results in two cycle, as a result, obviously one cycle, two molecule is what we are getting. Two ATPs molecules are generated. So since the result is two cycle of Krebs cycle, right? So totally four ATPs as a product can be obtained, right, from one glucose molecule. So four is the answer. Next, we have 116 here. How many NAD H H plus will be produced during the oxidative decarboxylation of two molecules of pyruvic acid into acetyl CoA? is the question. So yeah, what would be the answer actually? Uh, 2NADH plus H plus will be the answer, because during this process, what happens? Two molecules of NADH are produced from the metabolism of two molecules of the pyruvic acid, right? So that is produced from one glucose molecules during the glycolysis. So finally, it will be 2NADH plus H plus ions. Moving to the next question, that is 117, where assertion is C4 plant also shows carbon dioxide fixation by the Kelvin cycle, where the reason they're saying is the mesophile cells in the C4 plant shows the Kelvin cycle, that is carbon dioxide fixation. So which of the statement is like other statements and whatever the decision reason they're giving is correct or not? See, one thing is the mesophile cells, and especially like C4 plants, they do not directly, conduct this carbon dioxide fixation through the Kelvin cycle. Instead, what happens here is the carbon dioxide is finally fixed in mesophile cells, right? So finally, they're actually fixed with the mesophile cells, and then you will see that what do you say that uh, 8 to 4 carbon compound. So which is then transported to the bundle sheet cells where this Kelvin cycle occurs, right? So this adaptation helps the C4 plant effectively utilize the carbon dioxide and minimize this what do you say that uh, this thing photorespiration, especially in hot and dry environment. So therefore, what could be the thing? So C4 plant also shows carbon dioxide fixation by Kelvin cycle is actually true, but mesophil cells in the C4 cycle shows Kelvin cycle is wrong. So option A, that is assertion, is true, but R, that is the reason which is giving to it, is actually no. So it actually this question is from the photosynthesis scenario plants, right? Yeah. So one thing, next question, that is the process by which the uh, partial oxidization of the glucose occurs is actually, it's a direct question now. So what would be the answer? So it is four, that is glycolysis. Yeah. So in aerobic organisms, what happens? It is the only process in the respiration. So glycolysis occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell and is actually present in on living organism. So next question is 199. During DNA replication, the discontinuous synthesis fragment are later joined by the enzyme. So which is the enzyme? So it actually joins this discontinuous DNA fragments, replicated one, is actually DNA ligase, right? So during the DNA replication, what happens? The fragments which are synthesized discontinuously, they're actually later joined by the enzymes that is called as DNA ligase. So what will be the 120 question answer is? So yeah, it's very simple. That is 23 srRNA. So which reference to the given below figure below describes a process, right? So that is the ribosome also acts as what? Catalyst. So it actually acts as what? A catalyst. So that is which is that 23 rRNA in bacteria is that enzyme ribosome. So for the formation of what? So it is mainly due to the it mainly acts in the formation of that is peptide bond. Clear. So I'll move to the 121 question here. So match the following kind, and yeah, so out of this, you have to match like you have to choose the correct option. So there are three different types of RNA polymers, right? One is RNA polymerase 1, next 2, and 3. So RNA polymerase is actually transcribe rRNA. So it actually always transcribes what? rRNA, RNA polymerase 1. So where the RNA polymerase 2 is responsible for the transcription of tRNA. So that is what tRNA, where does it comes? So yeah, and we have RNA polymerase 3 and RNA polymerase 2, right? So remember, RNA polymerase 1, it transcribes the rRNAs, okay? Where RNA polymerase 3, it actually transcribes, sorry, here it is actually, yeah, 3 transcribe tRNA. So where this, tRNA and yes, sRNA. So these all thing. So RNA polymerase 2 is present right here. So RNA polymerase 2, it transcribes the mRNA. So that is the heterogeneous nuclear RNA or hnRNA. So whatever you can say. So yeah. So therefore option 2, that is, yeah, RNA polymerase 1, rRNA, it is going to what do you say that? It is going to transcript, right? Then RNA polymerase 2 is going to transcript what? The hnRNA. That is RNA 2. RNA 3 is going to transcribe the remaining one. So that is the tRNA, then 5srRNA, snrRNA. So therefore option 2 is the correct. So next 122, that is about the replication. By seeing this, what is A and what is B, that is what you have to see. So I don't know, like you do remember the central dogma theory. So what happens here is we have the DNA here, right? So DNA, it can be transcription. Transcription means it can be reversed also. And translation, once it is done, it cannot be reversed. So into RNA. And see, here it is transcription, and here it is translation, right? And that to protein. So now one thing that we have to remember is that is what it is. So what would be the correct option? Transcription, then translation, and the protein. Right. So next question 123, which is spliceosomes, right, are found in the cells of E. coli. Direct question. So yeah, next is 124, which are one of the following experiment in which radioactive elements compounds are used. Yeah, can you remember? Radioactive compounds have been used. See, in Harshli and Chase experiment, what was the radioactive elements which was being used as P32 and S35, if you remember. Then in the Taylor experiment, it was the radioactive, the element which was used was thymidine, right? And in the methylene and the Stark experiment, it was heavy isotope. Uh, Heavy isotope, that is nitrogen 15, but they were not actually radioactive, right? So TH Morgan, no. So what would be the correct option here? B and which of the following experiment in which radioactive element compounds are used? So out of all this, that is what I remember. And T.H. Morgan, we know, no, he did not use any such radioactive elements or compounds. So yeah, it is very clear that in option B and in option D only, you have been seeing that radioactive elements on compound use. So because N15 that I'm saying, right, and the Mislin and Stahl experiment, it is actually an heavy isotope of nitrogen was being used, and that is not radioactive. So option 2 is the correct. Next we have is 125. If total amount of adenine and thymine in a double stranded DNA is 45%, then amount of guanine in this DNA will be what? So that's the question. Okay, we'll just try to analyze it. See, if we have the adenine and thymine in a double stranded DNA is 45. Okay. So A, T, C, G, you know that a complementary strand. So for A, you will have T, and for C, the complementary strand will be G. So what they have told you is when adenine and thymine, okay, is equal to 1, that means guanine plus cytosine is also equal to 1. Clear? So both are 1 is nothing but A plus T is equal to G plus C. I can consider like this, right? So now G plus C is equal to. So the total amount of adenine thymine in a double stranded DNA is 45. Okay. Then amount of valine in this DNA will be what? So out, and they have given it in percentage range. So out of 100%, okay. So adenine and thymine out of 100%, if I need to understand the amount of valine in it. So what I have to know here is 100 minus 45, because, okay, so guanine plus cytosine is equal to 100 minus 45. So what will be the remaining? 55. So G and C both are in equal amount, that is 55. So that is what equal amount I have told. So I can consider G is equal to C, then 55 means what? If G is equal to C, then C is also equal to C, right? So that means C plus C. G is equal to C, that is what we know. Then here instead of G, I can write C. So C plus C is equal to what? 2. Correct. So that is nothing but 2C is equal to 55. So when you divide 55 by 2, you will get C will be what? 27.5%. So what would be the answer here? 27.5% would be the answer. Clear? The total amount of the adenine and thymine in the double stranded DNA. So out of 100%, it is 45 they are saying. So then the amount of guanine in this DNA will be how much? That is what they are saying. So adenine and the thymine in a double stranded DNA is 45 is clear. I want to know like guanine, what is the percentage here? And we know like A strand, it binds to T and it has a complementary to T. C has a complementary to G. So in this ratio we are going to calculate. Next we have 126. The following symbol shows. What does the symbol shows? Actually it is genetics, anyhow, genetics and evolution. So you're the one who have to say me. Yeah, that is, see, this is male and this is female or what? That is what, nothing like that. It's just like you're just considering it as a parent one. So you're seeing as a mate, right? Correct. So one is mating, that's correct. And another thing is mating between the relatives. So what would be the option now? Both 2 and 3, yeah? Or what? Oh, what kind of mating? So mate is fine. What kind of mating? Mating between the relatives. Correct. And also it is also showing the consequentious mating. So that means option 4 is the correct answer. Which one of the following is not a Mendelian disorder? 127. So I need a proper answer here. A disorder with characteristic plum decrease is actually not a Mendelian disorder. I'll just explain you why. And most common and the prevalent, what do you say, that Mendelian disorder are, we know what are the Mendelian disorder, right? Hemophilia, cystic fibrosis, then the sickle cell anemia, color blindness, then we have thalassemia, right? Many things. So it is important to mention here that such Mendelian disorders may be dominant or it can also be recessive. So a disorder with characteristic plum, is actually seen in Down syndrome. So this is what? Down syndrome, which is chromosomal disorder and not a Mendelian disorder. So next is 128. The defect is caused by the sickle cell anemia is actually due to the substitution of what? It is actually due to the substitution of the glutamic acid by the valine at the sixth position of the chain. Next 129, that is flukes are related with what? So they are related with sewage treatment, yes, aerobic microbes, yes, massive of bacteria with fungal filaments, yes. So all. See, because your flukes are related to the process of flocculation, which involves the aggregation of aggregation of the particles into a floc or clump, commonly absorbed in the wastewater treatment and in various industrial processes. So this process is very essential for the removal of the suspended solid from the liquid, right? So during sewage treatment, the primary effluent is passed into large, aeration tank where it is constantly agitated mechanically and air is pumped into it. And this allows various growth of useful aerobic microbes into flocks, right? So that is what. So next is 130. BOD of some water bodies are as follows. A is equal to 150 mg per liter, then B is 5 mg per liter, C is 300 mg per liter, and D is 40 mg per liter. So greater the BOD of the water, the more pollution it will be. That is what we know. So here most polluted water will be greater the BOD will be. So here C, that is 300 mg per liter, and this is B, which is very less, right? So that means it is less pollutant and less pollutant because it has the BOD value is very less. So we'll write like B is less polluted than D and A and see something like that. Correct. So yeah, do we have like this something? Fourth one, yes. So that is the option, correct option. So 131, population evolved to maximize their productive fitness. This is called Darwinian fitness. So this is represented by hmm, higher R value because Darwin fitness refers to what? Organisms able to survive, reproduce, and pass on its genes to the next generation, right? So it is often measured by the number of offsprings an organism produce that survive to produce themselves. So higher fitness means an organism is well developed to its environment and can cause successfully contribute to the gene pool. So Darwinism fitness is what? Represented by R value. Higher R value indicates higher reproductive uh, capacity. Next we have is 132. So in the interaction between C anemone and the clownfish, which one remains unaffected? So that is the question. So which one? Sea anemone. So out of these two things, one is clownfish and sea anemone. Why? Because commercializing is the interaction between sea anemones that has a sting. What do you say that? When has a prominent role when compared to the clownfish that lives among themselves. So the fish gets protected from the predators, which stay away from the stinging tentacles, right? So the anemone does not appear to derive any benefits by hosting the clownfish. So that's why sea anemone is the proper answer. Next 133, which is, oh, this is exponential curve, right? Yeah, this is exponential growth curve. So what would be the correct answer? Exponential growth curve means it has even geometrical growth. It will show J-shaped curve will also show, and this is the formula. All of this. Next 134. Just know it as here because dn by dt is equal to Rn. Okay. So 134 we have in amensalism. Amensalism is nothing but one of the other hand on one species is harmed where the other is unaffected. So predation, parasitism, and commensalism share a common characteristics, that is interacting species living closing together. So in amensalism, what I can one species is harmed and the other is unaffected. Correct. So one species is harmed and other are unaffected. For example, elephant which is disturbing the nest of or harming the burrowing animal. So that is also one reason. And penicillium produces the what antibiotic penicillin, which inhibits the growth of bacteria. But it is not having this penicillin which is producing antibiotic. Penicillin is not getting any benefit, but it is harming the bacteria by inhibiting its growth. So elephant, it is, what it is doing, disturbing the nest of ant. So colonies of ant, nothing benefit elephant is getting by it, but it is harming the colonies of ant like this. So we have the last question of botany. Which growth model is considered more realistic? Exponential growth model or the logistic growth model, or both one and two are equally realistic, or none of the above. So logistic growth model, why? Because it has more realistic in logistic growth model, right? More realistic when exponential growth model and logistic growth model. Logistic growth model is considered to be the most realistic model. So yeah, this was all about the botany questions, and I hope you have attempted the correct answers. And yeah, all the best for the coming test, and do well, prepare well. Bye.